In this video, I spent over 69 hours building the all-new
Fleuve Cendre
Ferryman from Genshin Impact. But unlike most cosplay weapons that are either 3D printed or made out of foam, since the weapon itself looks like it's made of normal everyday metal pipes, I'm gonna make it out of this piece of galvanized pipe that you could find inside the walls of your very own home. At the end of this video, I'm actually going to test how practical it is to make a sword out of pipes. So not only does it have to look good, it actually has to work. But first, some backstory. Genshin Impact has a lot of strange weapons. There's this one that has a clock in it. Then there's this one, which is what happens when you send a flower through the postal service. There's also this one that's literally an umbrella with a moving eyeball. And then, when Genshin Impact released the beautiful Fontaine region to us, they also introduced a new sword, which literally just looks like some pipes, making it possibly the coolest sword in Genshin Impact. So cool in fact that I knew I just had to build one for myself. Before starting to build, I need to figure out how large everything should be, so I'll use my phone to take a picture of my monitor like a boomer and print out the picture to mark it up and gauge the dimensions. Since all weapons in Genshin scale with the size of the character, I think I'll just go with around 38 inches or roughly 965 millimeters. The sword in the image is 24 millimeters long, which means that by using the proportion formula, 1 millimeter in the image equals 4.02 millimeters in real life. And who said middle school algebra wouldn't come in handy? So here's the plan. The overall build can be broken into two distinct parts. The parts that can use traditional construction materials and practices, and the more artistic steampunk parts that I'll have to design, model, and 3D print. But before I continue, for those of you watching because you want to build one for yourself, you don't have to go overkill like me. You can easily make this sword using PVC, foam, or even just 3D printing the entire thing. But I'm going to use galvanized pipes and fittings from Home Depot because I don't want to make a cosplay weapon that looks good but is actually as useless as Aqua. I want it to be able to beat the living shit out of stuff just as Hoyoverse intended. So to connect the pipes to these fittings, just like the pipes within your walls, I'll have to use this pipe threader to literally cut threads onto the pipes for the fittings to screw onto. And with that, the main blade part of the sword, and actually all of the structural parts of the sword, are done. Now on to the next step, which is probably the most time-consuming and difficult part of the build: designing, modeling, and 3D printing these two artistic sections of the sword. Because all the parts are designed to fit as tight as Mona's outfit, I have to sand a lot of the parts to make sure they fit perfectly. Next up is the electronics. Since these three sections look like they light up, I need to figure out how to install a battery, some LEDs, and a button to turn it on and off. For these light blue parts, I'm actually going to use my long inactive resin printer to try and make translucent light blue parts for the lights to shine through. Back to the pipe itself, I need to drill multiple holes for bolts to go through to guide and hold the 3D parts in place. To make sure I drill the right spots, I'm going to design and 3D print sleeves that go around the pipe to guide me while I'm using the drill press. Now, eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that I have 4 holes marked out, but only 2 screws on the 3D model. That's because these 2 large middle holes are for the wires for the LED lights to enter and travel through the pipe. After checking the fitment one last time, we have everything ready for paint and assembly. Now I forgot to take the thickness of the paint into account, so parts will have to be sanded to fit together. While checking the fitment one more last time, I just realized that I'm an idiot and totally forgot to make a hole for the battery's wire. So it's back to the super rusty drill press one last time to drill one last hole. After what seemed like an eternity of building, this sword is finally ready. And there you have it, the Fleuve Cendre Ferryman weapon from Genshin Impact. Possibly the coolest weapon currently in Genshin, and definitely the heaviest weapon I have ever built. Although it only weighs 5 pounds and 11.5 ounces, when you're actually wielding the sword, it feels more like 13 to 20 pounds. It feels so heavy that I honestly don't understand how characters such as Chi-Chi or Furina can swing this sword with only one hand. So the last thing left to do is to see if making a sword out of pipes actually works, which means it's time to beat the shit out of some stuff. The first opponent for the Ferryman sword is my current greatest addiction, Coke Zero. So let's see if I can literally beat my addiction with this sword.
1, 2, 3. Well, that didn't work.
I can't believe my sword broke on the first swing. And I'm so embarrassed that I hit the block of wood instead of the frickin' can. Almost an entire year's worth of work, which mostly consists of procrastination, instantly wasted in 1 second. Now, I was warned that my threads might not be super strong back when we were threading the pipes because I wanted to thread it as little as possible so the threads don't show past the fittings. So I guess my decision to keep the sword as close to looking like the game weapon as possible has come back to bite me in the butt. But let's continue.
1, 2, 3. There we go. Whoa, it blew off the entire can head. But I'm cheating.
Which I think I'll count this test as half working since I only used half the sword. Next up, just like all those wonderful anime beach episodes, the next opponent to be smashed is a watermelon.
1, 2, 3. Oh, that's pretty good.
A wonderful result for my Ferryman sword, bringing it to now working 1.5 times out of 2. Moving on to the final boss, the one thing that has annoyed me every single day, the one thing that has given me countless migraines this past year, this computer monitor with this high-pitched whine that never goes away.
1, 2, 3.
I never would have guessed that a 20-year-old ViewSonic monitor would be so strong. So let's see if doing multiple hits will do the trick.
I can't break a monitor? 3. Last try. 1, 2, 3. Ouch. Ouch.
In the end, I was only able to create a couple cracks and dents on the screen, as well as break off some of the plastic from the back of the monitor. So the GigaChad monitor wins this round and concludes the test. Based on the results of all the testing, my Ferryman sword made out of actual pipes demolished its opponents 1.5 out of 3 times, which funnily enough is the same odds as Genshin's 50-50 rate up limited system. And so it's official. This is a 50% functioning, real-life Fleuve Cendre Ferryman. And after screwing it back together and gluing some of the decorative pieces back on, this sword still functions perfectly as a cosplay sword that actually lights up. So if there's any cosplayers around the LA area that want to borrow this sword, hit me up. I would love the sword to have more use than just for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm trying to upload more this year and have tons of projects lined up. So please like and subscribe if you want to see me build more weird and strange anime related things. If you want to watch something right now, check out this video where I built the jet-powered tennis racket from Spy Family. Or if you want to learn a little bit more about 3D printing anime stuff, check out this video where I explain a little bit about 3D printers and show off a bunch of anime items you can print right now. I've been OBAKA, and I will see you next time.